Hello everybody, this is Bradley from Politics UK. The local elections are now just next week, but that doesn't mean we don't have by-elections to go for this week, or should I say just one by-election to go through. This is the final council by-election before the massive slate of elections next week. So where was it? It's in Tenbury, in Malvern Hills. The last time the seat was up for grabs was 2023, with the Independents coming out at 42%, the Conservatives 37%, and Greens at 20%. However, the Independents only ran one candidate, so the Conservative Party picked up the second seat at around 50% of the vote. So what does last night's result bring us? It is a reform gain from the Conservatives. So if we take that sort of combined score from the Tories of about 37% down, they are down 7 points, but in reality this is down about 20 points on the councillor that was elected that's being replaced. Reform, they are new in this seat, 45%. Really strong turnout, actually, of 40.5%. So yeah, really strong result for Reform. There was a lot of Conservative campaigning in this area for the by-election. I think this was one that they probably thought they'd be able to hold. And again, is this maybe a bad sign for next week? Maybe a sign of things to come? Because my personal opinion is actually, I think the Tories could hold. They're going to lose a lot of seats. Don't get me wrong. But I think they could hold proportionately quite strongly. I'm not 100% sold they're going to lose over half their seats. But yeah, this maybe is a sign in the opposite direction, because this is a really strong result for Reform. Reform do tend to do well, though. This comes with a caveat. They tend to do well in seats that do elect independent councillors outside of cities. But that's mostly because the type of independents that get elected in cities are very different to the types of independents that get elected in an area like Tenbury. The Lib Dems are also new, and they're sitting at about 13%, just edging out the Green Party, who are actually down 8 points on the last time that we ran these elections. But I guess that's not too much of a surprise. We have seen where Reform stands. The Greens typically go down a little bit, especially, again, in this type of seat. Lib Dems also being there will definitely give a bit more option to the voters. So I wouldn't be too surprised by that one. So that is the picture in Tenbury. But where are we currently sitting with just 6 days to go before the local elections in the national picture? So here we go. We do have Reform slightly recovering from their real low point a couple of weeks back, up to 26.1%. We have seen a drop of nearly 1% for both Labour and the Conservatives over the last week or two. So yeah, maybe not great. The momentum's probably more around Reform at the moment. Green Party's probably still quite stagnant around this sort of 15-16% window where they've been sitting for a while now, since Gorton and Denton. I would expect potentially post-elections here, if the Green Party beat Labour like we expect, I think we will see that crossover between Labour and the Greens. Where Labour go down to, I don't know, but what we are going to see is probably quite quick movement from the Parliamentary Labour Party off the back of these elections. This very much could be the last week or two of Keir Starmer's premiership, and if it isn't, they're probably going to take a massive hit in the polling with the Greens overtaking Labour. Equally, the Tories, if we see a similar bounce like we did for Reform post-local elections that we did last year, we are going to see probably the Tories going down to about 15% and Reform potentially recovering up to around that sort of high 20% window again. Equally, yep, Labour Party probably down there as well. Green Party getting a bit of a boost, because the more viable your party looks, the more sort of unhappy Labour and Conservative voters are going to go your way. We're seeing Restore, they're probably still sitting around that 3 to 4% window we're seeing quite consistently in the polls now. I think that's roughly where they are. Definitely higher than the peaks of your party. We are seeing other consistently a good 1% ahead that we saw through the your party peak. And the Lib Dems, I would say they're fairly stagnant for quite a while. To be fair though, and I'm starting to see this online now, there is a little bit of pressure on Ed Davey from Lib Dem activists, you know, getting up to 15% here and actually being within touching distance of the Tories, to then, I don't know, to then have this gap open out to about 7 points again it's a bit disappointing, and I feel like maybe they've not sort of taken the most of the opportunities that have been given to them, and they're very much sort of out of the picture at the moment. They'll probably have a fairly decent night in the local elections, but I don't think they'll pick up much more than maybe 200 seats. But we'll be having videos coming out over the next few days of any new polls that come out and just keeping up to date in this really sort of precarious time as we lead up to these local elections. But as a bit of an early prediction, guys, down in the comments, if you let me know roughly what you think is going to come from these local elections, do let me know and I'll make sure I read all of them. I'll be releasing my sort of initial vibes prediction at the start of the week, and then on Wednesday, the night before the election, giving a more sort of formal prediction that might include even the amount of councils controlled, but definitely the seats, and really just explaining the picture of what is a good night for each party, what's an okay night for each party, and what is a bad night for each party. But if you want to stay up to date with all of the latest polling and election results, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and also give us a follow on X as well, @PoliticsUK. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good one.